Hello everyone, my name is Lucia. The amount of subscribers on my channel has extremely increased lately, as well as the amount of questions. In this video, I'll try to answer the most frequently asked questions about myself, this shop, the equipment, and how I came to welding and fabrication. Okay, I'm 34 years old, married, live in not so big city in Russia, and have higher humanitarian education. I studied history, tourism, and English at the university. And I always was a good pupil, a good student, and a good girl, but not too girly. When I was a kid, I hated playing with dolls and Barbies and preferred some activities instead. Played with boys in the yard, liked playing with a ball, skating, skiing, riding bicycle, and making something with my hands, even knitting. This shop belonged to my grandpa, and formerly it still does because it's located in the yard of his house. And when I was little, I adored spending time with grandpa. We went fishing, picking mushrooms, and I liked watching him fixing something in the shop. I was helping him, handing him wrenches and pliers and putting things in place and cleaning up a bit. So I got used to this shop and tools. But while I was getting older, was studying at the university, hanging out with friends, met my husband, learned snowboarding, worked in bank and made a good career, I became a rare guest here. But one day, more than 3 years ago, my husband and I were walking, talking and joking as always, and he said I can't do something. I can't even remember what exactly, but as you probably have guessed, challenge was accepted. I don't know how come that welding came into my mind that moment, but I said, I always learn fast, I can learn, for example, welding at the grandpa's workshop. We laughed at this statement, and 10 minutes after it was forgotten. At least I thought so. But the next day, my hubby reminded me of my words, and I realized that it's not a game anymore. Okay, I started watching welding tutorials on YouTube, and it seemed not so difficult. Then I talked with grandpa. And should I mention that to say he was surprised is to say nothing, but he was very happy with the fact that this shop will serve someone again, because he was too old to work at that moment, and the shop stood idle for several years. And this was a very emotional moment for us. And then I was thinking it over, and I don't know how, but the crazy idea came into my mind. I decided not to waste time on the aimless welding of the metal pieces and to implement Grandpa's unfulfilled dream, to build a small boat. I bought a CAD project because at that time I had no idea how a boat should be designed. And I knew it's going to be challenging. That's why I needed more motivation not to give up. And I decided to register my first YouTube channel called Lucia Reload, and decided to post there all of my experiments. You know, it's always scary to do something for the first time, and it's doubly scary to do it on camera, which I wasn't used to. But once it was stated and posted, it helped me to act consistently. However, first of all, it was my husband who helped me. Not even with money, but with something much more important. Because he was always believing in me and always saying that I have a huge potential which I don't use. And yes, he has been my cameraman for all this time and helped me with lifting weights, because I weigh 48 kilos and my strength is just not enough often. And the most important thing, that he's cheered me up when I was thinking I couldn't manage. I should also say that I didn't spend $1 million to buy all the equipment I have here now. My grandpa already had an old MIG welding machine, a small manual plasma cutter, a miter saw, turning and milling machine, a drill press, and other hand tools, which is a lot. But of course my workshop has changed a lot during the last 3 years. First I made a fume extractor, my welding table, a furnace for melting aluminium, a belt grinder, CNC plasma cutting machine, a welding rotary table, and I'm building a skid steer at the moment. And I think the result I achieved is really great. And moreover, I met a lot of close and spirit people thanks to my channel. Many of them shared their experience, gave me advices, answered my questions, which was a huge contribution to the success of my projects. And there are still so many things ahead. In the future, I want to learn 3D printing and working with fiberglass, for example. I even have a component for the resin and a fiberglass roll that my subscriber sent me after my experiment with a fiberglass shower tray repair. But unfortunately, the thing is, I don't have 35 hours a day to learn everything I want, implement it, to live, to be a woman and a wife, and to sleep at least. Okay, sorry, I got a little distracted from the story. Anyway, some of you already know, I built that boat and it turned out awesome. Compact but spacious and fast. And when someone asks me if it was worth it building it, because it's maybe cheaper and more simple to buy one, no matter they mean a boat or a skid steer, I answer that the knowledge and the experience I got in welding, turning, milling, fabrication and designing in CAD programs are invaluable for me. I'm a self-taught person who learns mostly by watching videos on YouTube, and if you want to know my formula of rapid learning, it contains natural curiosity, self-learning, the ability to ask a question to knowledgeable people, a lot of practice, of course, and of course, patience and perseverance. By the way, speaking of questions, I want to answer your questions about why is US stated as my country on this channel. The thing is, I had quite a big part of foreign subscribers on my Russian channel that were writing they would like to understand what I say, but they couldn't. And in the summer of 2021, I decided to start a channel in English. And I wanted YouTube to show this channel right to the English-speaking audience, because I already had Russian one. And the vast majority of the English-speaking audience is located in the USA. That's why I chose US as my domestic country on this channel. Oh, almost forgot. How do my hands and eyes stay so clean? If you'll take a look at the frequency of the video publications on my channel, you'll probably imagine that if a 15-minute video contains not a week but more than a month of work, I may take small breaks to eat, sleep, and even wash my hands and clothes. I also wear gloves when it's possible, clean up the metal before using it, and clean up my workshop as well as my house, because to work and live in a mess and dirt or not is a choice. And as for my manicure, I do it myself back to front, and even gel varnish coating, which is a real armor for the nails, by the way. I know it's hard for most of men who barely use a hand cream to understand and notice all the care procedures that women do. So I understand why people sometimes write that my hands are too clean and tidy and undamaged for the work I do. Anyway, I always try to focus on my own affairs, so I want to say that this time was a real reload, or you may call it a reboot, for a girl who worked as a bank employee. I left my good post at the bank more than a year ago, and although it was a hard decision for me, I don't regret. Because time flies so fast, and now my grandpa is very old and he's seriously sick. But he's proud of the fact that this shop wasn't abandoned, and I learned more about myself, what I can and what I want. In the end, I want to welcome all of you, both those who has been with me from the very beginning and those who has recently joined, and say thank you for all the kindness and support in the comments that you wrote under the previous video. I appreciate it so much. Oh, and recently I was invited to make a video, Top 10 sheet metal breaks, for the YouTube channel homemadetools.net of the eponymous forum I participate in for a long time. It may be interesting for you to watch, so I'll leave the link in the description. And now I should return to the skid steer build. See you in the next videos. Bye bye.